States of America that breed children in order to sell them.
Our own government is facilitating the absolute destruction of the American immigration system, and I can prove it point by point. I'm unafraid to speak the truth. This is just data-driven and experience-driven.
Well, respectfully, Canadians' view on this is not going to change on the 51st state. Secondly, we are the largest client of the United States in the totality of all the goods. So we are the largest client of the United States. We have a tremendous auto sector between the two of us, and the changes that made have been helpful. 50% of a car that comes from Canada is American. That's not like anywhere else in the world. And to your question about is there one thing? No, this is a bigger discussion. There are much bigger forces involved, and this will take some time and some discussions, and that's why we're here, to have those discussions, and that is represented by who's sitting around the table.
See, the conflict is, and this is very friendly. We're not. This is not going to be like we had another little blow up with somebody else. That was a much different. This is a very friendly conversation, but we want to make our own cars. We don't really want cars from Canada, and we put tariffs on cars from Canada, and at a certain point, it won't make economic sense for Canada to build those cars. And we don't want steel from Canada because we're making our own steel, and we're having massive steel plants being built right now as we speak. We really don't want Canadian steel, and we don't want Canadian aluminum and various other things because we want to be able to do it ourselves. And we, because of, past thinking of people, we have a tremendous deficit with Canada. In other words, they have a surplus with us. And there's no reason for us to be subsidizing
it looks like the
Canada.
title
Canada's
is wrong. Have Rob Maness on
a place that will have to be able to take care of itself economically. I assume they can. I will tell you that Trudeau, when I spoke to him, I used to call him Governor Trudeau. I think that probably didn't help his election. But when I spoke to him, I said, so why are we taking your cars? Why are we taking we want to make them ourselves. I mean, I said, and if the price of your cars went up, or if we put a tariff on your cars of 25%, what would that mean to you? He said, that would mean the end of Canada. He actually said that to me. And I said, that's a strange answer, but I understand his answer. But no, I mean, it's hard to justify subsidizing Canada to the tune of maybe $200 billion a year. We protect Canada militarily, and we always will. We're going to, that's not a money thing. But we always will. But, it's not fair. But why are we subsidizing Canada $200 billion a year, or whatever the number might be? It's a very substantial number. And it's hard for the American taxpayer to say, gee whiz, we love doing that. Thank you very much. We're going to have a very substantive Thank you. Thank you very much.
That right there is a man that holds all the cards. All the cards. Welcome to Truth with J.J. Carrell. Trump is the very first president that actually understands leverage, actually understands the power that the American country and the American people have. And he is one of the very first presidents that is not corruptible by money and power. He has that in spades. So he understands the leverage of a deal. He holds all the cards. He understands for Canada, for example, we don't need Canada for anything. Canada needs us for everything. You think if Canada's attacked, Canadians are going to be able to do anything about it? No. They're not even a little brother. They're like our little sister. She's crying out for us. Please help us. Please help us. We don't need Canada. What do we need Canada for? Tell me one thing we need Canada for. Nothing. Donald Trump said, we don't need your cars. We don't want your cars. We don't want your steel. We don't want anything. All this is not impromptu. This is not Donald Trump flying off the cuff. This is Donald Trump knowing exactly what he's doing. He's driving the price down on everything. And he's making Canada very aware, if you push us, we will crush you. Why don't we behave like this with everyone? And do it ethically, morally, meaning not saying, hey, we're going to change this trade deficit with you and we're going to dominate you and put you out of business. No, all we're asking for is fair. We're asking for you, Canada, stop taxing our dairy at 270%. Stop. And if you don't, well, then we're going to stop all trade with you. We're going to make it impossible for you to sell your stuff to us, the largest consumer. What does the European need? They need America. What does China need? They need America. What does every nation on planet Earth need? They need America. And we need to start acting as if we hold all the cards all the time. Why are our lives always getting worse, harder, dollar devalue, and the rest of the globe, their lives get easier? Ask yourself, why are we in, what is it now, over 100 treaties where we're responsible to send our young men and women to war, mainly our men, into war for other countries? Tell me how that's equitable. Tell me how that's fair. When you have people like Lindsay, Don't Ask, Don't Tell Graham, sending our children to war at all cost. He doesn't have any children. You can't have children if you've never been married. Or like women, men can't have babies. So what does Lindsey Graham do and people like him? Well, we'll just send your children. Because I have no emotional attachment to your child. I don't care if your child gets their legs blown off. I don't care if your child has third-degree burns all over their body and they look like a monster. I have no attachment to your child that has lost an arm and a leg and the other arm is mangled and they have to have a specialized house that they can't afford or specialized wheelchairs and they can't afford and their lives are completely destroyed. I don't care. I just need to keep getting more wealthy. I need to keep feeding the military-industrial complex and then have them circle money back to my campaign and pay my spouses that are on your NGO or your boards. I need to keep funneling and laundering money to stupid wars like Ukraine, $300 billion. And then the Ukrainian president, who is a laugh, a joke, says out loud, well, I haven't seen half of it. I don't know where it is. And then we watch him say that he can't find the money. And then we watch the bank accounts of our politicians skyrocket in the millions of dollars. Interesting how that all works. The greatest concern I have is we have less than 4 years. And there is no Republican in the shadows waiting. None. Not J.D. Vance, not Marco Rubio, not any of those people. Don't trust him at all. Trust Donald Trump. He holds all the cards and he knows it. Watch this clip. Watch this clip when he tells him right in his face that we want Canada to be the 51st state and how great it'd be for Canada.
President, you had said that Canada should become the 51st state. Were you joking?
No. Well, I still believe that, but you know, it takes two to tango, right? But no, I do. I mean, I believe it would be a massive tax cut for the Canadian citizens. You get free military, you get tremendous medical cares and other things. There would be a lot of advantages, but it would be a massive tax cut. And it's also a beautiful, you know, as a real estate developer, you know, I'm a real estate developer at heart. When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic person, but when I looked at that beauty, I said, that's the way it was meant to be. But, you know, I do feel it's much better for Canada. But we're not going to be discussing that unless somebody wants to discuss it. I think that there are tremendous benefits to the Canadian citizens, tremendously lower taxes, free military, which honestly we give you essentially anyway, because we're protecting Canada if you ever had a problem. But I think it would really be a wonderful marriage, because it's two places that get along very well. They like each other a lot.
That's an alpha male telling a beta just to shut up. Here's the thing. If that prime minister had any courage, any self-respect, anything, he would have looked at Donald Trump and told him to go F off. And here's the crazy thing. Donald Trump would respect him. Donald Trump is sitting there dressing him down, telling him he's going to take his country and make it a state, and he can become a governor. And he's sitting there taking it. He's taking it. It's like Donald Trump saying, your wife, she's not as beautiful as Melania, but I'm going to take her too. I'll give her back to you on the weekends if you want, but she's mine. And he sits there and takes it. But I don't look at Donald Trump and say, well, you shouldn't act that way. Why? Canada has been abusing our relationship for decades. Why are we providing Canada with security? And they opened their borders on the northern side and flooded our nation. Why would we be kind to them at all? And the answer is we shouldn't. We're taking back the reins of this relationship. We are in charge of this relationship. And if you don't like it, then go pound sand. See you later. We're the best looking guy at the dance. We have the best car. We're the captain of the football team. We have millions of dollars in our bank account. We're untouchable. I can have 1,000 of these women at the dance to be my partner, to dance with me all night long. I don't need you. You don't want to dance with me? Pound sand. See you later. You don't want to act like a good partner? Bye. Same thing with Canada. And Donald Trump just took that same kind of attitude that I just said and put it in a 12-second clip, and it says everything you need to know about Donald Trump and how he views the relationship with Canada. We're going to be friendly. We're going to be fair. And if you don't want to be friendly and fair, goodbye. Watch this clip.
Tariff in Canada, is there anything he could say to you in the course of your meetings with him today that would get you to lift tariffs on Canada?
No,
Why not?
just the way it is.
Do you see that beta male like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, hold on, sir. Let's talk. Nope, there's nothing to talk about. Same thing with the guy in the dance. Oh, you don't want to behave like a good girlfriend and a partner? Okay, see you later. You see that line of 1,000 girls that just want to dance with me? And as he dismisses the young girl, she gets frantic, like, oh, no, wait. I made a mistake. I really will be a good girlfriend or a wife or a partner. No. I've already made my mind up. You're expendable, and I'm expending you now. That's the same thing he did with Canada. And the world is losing their mind because the giant in the world is finally woken up from its slumber as they've been trying to kill us. And we've woken up and we just said, I'm the giant in the world. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do, and you're going to do it, or I'm going to punish you severely. The big problem that we have in our country is that we have a significant percentage of our politicians, the vast majority of our media, and a very significant percentage of our population that hates America, hates that we are the giant, wants us to be impotent, cowardly, apologetic, all the things that we hate. They want us to stay that way. Before I show you videos of who we are, versus who they are. Like I'm looking to the left of my screen and so my clips are lined up so I can see them as they're going to come, right? So to the left of my screen is a Congresswoman DeLuca, I think her name is pronounced, from Connecticut. She's the 80-year-old woman that wears clothes from Goodwill and pieces them together and creates some kind of frock. And then she goes and colors her hair purple. Like not like a soft purple, like a bright, this is purple hair with rings on all of her fingers and giant jewelry. She looks like a hot freaking mess. And she's disgusting, like physically disgusting. And the mouth on her is disgusting. She's typical of a leftist woman. That's the truth. What she does need, I will tell you this, is some Bella Grace. She needs something. And she should start with Bella Grace and the Elixir 30-day challenge. Go to shopbellagrace.com /truth. Shopbellagrace.com/truth. Caleb, can you play this commercial of this beautiful young lady?
Start your day with the glow that comes from within. Introducing Bella Grace Elixir, a beauty secret that nurtures your skin from the inside out. Packed with natural ingredients, Bella Grace helps collagen production, reduce fine lines, and restore your youthful glow. And the best part, Bella Grace is perfect for your busy life. Take it with you on the go wherever you go. Bella Grace Elixir, discover the secret to timeless beauty. To get your hands on this product, go to www.shopbellagrace.com/truth. Elevate your skin's natural radiance with the Bella Grace Dewy Serum, your go-to for smooth, hydrating, and glowy skin. Infused with nourishing ingredients, it provides deep hydration, a soft texture, and a luminous, dewy finish. Like, come on, look at that. Whether you're at home, on the go, or heading to practice like me, Bella Grace Dewy Serum fits seamlessly into your daily routine. Glow from within all day long. Bella Grace Dewy Serum. To get your hands on this product, go to www.shopbellagrace.com/truth.
This is what gives me incredible hope. And hope is in very small, short supply and demand. Short supply, big demand. For me, hope. And every day that there's not an arrest is a day that I question what the hell's going on. But where I have hope is in the cabinet that Donald Trump has assembled. Not the 2016 cabinet, which was a hot mess, but this cabinet. So I want to just take a few moments and show what are these cabinet members doing right now to make the change, and this Herculean change they have to make. Kristi Noem took over a incredibly corrupt DHS run by incompetent traitorous bastard named Alejandro Mayorkas. The Cuban naturalized citizen, board member of HIAS, and HIAS created a regional processing center and was giving hundreds of millions, if not $1 billion plus from our federal government. Corruption. There's somewhere we could start with arrest Pam Bondi if you want to get into anything, actually. Watch this exchange between the beautiful, and also take a look at how grotesquely ugly the left is. From the beautiful, picturesque Kristi Noem to the grotesque 80-year-old congresswoman from Connecticut with purple hair. This is us versus them.
Where is the evidence of the failure of FEMA?
Congresswoman, we still have claims open from Hurricane Katrina. We have fire claims that are still unpaid to people who said they were due them 7 to 8 to 10 years old. They have never been paid by FEMA. So one of the worst things that the federal government can do is to stand up in front of the American public and say, we will be there, we will walk alongside you in the most horrible time of your life and then never follow through on it.
Well, that's
what the
not-
president has said is he's sick and tired of federal agencies that pick and choose who wins and who loses. He wants to make sure that the federal government's commitment, when it makes a commitment, that it follows through. So he's going to empower states.
The federal government is
local-
abdicating its commitment to the American people who find
It did
themselves.
certainly under Joe Biden's administration. But now President Trump's going to make
let me
sure
just say this
the
to you. The
communities are
Office
ready
of
for.
Let me just say this to you, you old hag, you stupid looking troll. She looks like she just walked out, she crawled out from a hovel. She's a troll. She's a physically disgusting woman. Disgusting person. I don't care if so. I mean, she's almost asexual. You have Christy Noem telling her, you're going to go to bat for FEMA? That's the hill you're going to die on? That's the agency that you're going to profess your love to? Donald Trump's been in office for 100 days. FEMA hasn't paid Hurricane Katrina victims yet. More or less the Maui, more or less the North Carolina, but FEMA sure the hell had enough money in the tunes of billions of dollars to fund hotels for illegal aliens. One hotel in New York City, the Roosevelt Hotel, cost $1 billion, backstopped by FEMA. Look, you stupid old woman. God, I tell you, I am so tired of my life being directly impacted by people that are in their freaking 80s that look like that. Honestly. Is there any time in your life that you could say, you know what, man, I'm just going to step away. I'm going to be a grandmother or a grandfather. No, I got to hold on to my power. I got to be able to go up there and pontificate about the greatness of FEMA. You could ask 100 citizens about FEMA, and 100 people would say, no, that's a horrible organization. 100 out of 100. Hell, I'll ask 100 Democrats. The only one that's going out of the 100 that's going to sit there and defend FEMA is that old bag. Dear God, if I ever decide to go and speak in front of Congress again, someone shoot me. But at the same time, I pray that she's on there so she and I can have a back and forth. The old battle axe with purple hair. And I hope they go back into my podcast and my show and they find these words and they replay it. And I will say, yeah, she's an old troll with purple hair that looks like a mental patient. And it's embarrassing that I have to have a conversation with this thing. Let's go to someone else that is very good at his job. That is Secretary Sean Puffy, not Puffy Combs. And he's talking about the infrastructure in America and how Joe Biden, and as Joe Biden called Buttigieg, booty juice. He called the man booty juice, amongst other things. And how they didn't do anything for their infrastructure. They did nothing. Watch this.
This is not a new problem. We've known this problem has existed. There's been multiple GAO reports over the last 4 years saying you have real problems with air traffic control and you should do something with it before it actually fails. So think about this. The last administration spent $1.2 trillion. The largest infrastructure package ever known to man, they spent, Joe Biden signed right here at this White House. And how much was spent to rebuild air traffic control? $5 billion. And of the $5 billion that was spent or was given, only $1 billion was actually spent. So they have made no investments in the system that we now see having issues in Newark. On top of that, they were focused on things like racist roads. They literally spent time concerned about the word cockpit and changing cockpit to flight deck. It's not funny, that's actually what they spent time on. Or airmen to aeronaut. And so now this administration has come in, and it was shortly after the DC air crash that I started to look at the air traffic control system. And very quickly, I saw one piece of the pie where there was issues, and then scratched further, and there's another piece of the pie. And as we looked at it, we see that the whole system needs to be redone. We need to build a brand new air traffic control system.
This is where I give Trump's cabinet and Trump a lot of grace. And I know I want arrests, and I know I want things to happen fast and faster. But I have to give them grace because I've been in these situations where I've taken over a program, and on the surface, it was failing. And then you start to ask, well, why is it failing, right? Let me get it. And you peel back the first layer, and you're like, holy smokes. How did this allow to go on? And then why did this happen? And then why did that happen? And where's that money? And then you're in the middle of this mess, and you're like, holy mother of God, how could this ever get to this point? And then you begin to say, well, who was in charge at this date? And who was in charge at that date? And you go, holy cow, these people are morons. And then you write, then you, when you know everything that happened, somebody that's an investigator or somebody that's taken over a program, they begin to formulate a timeline. Okay, at this time, this person did, and they made this decision, and this is the outcome. And you're looking at a timeline of failure, it's absolute failure. And they keep getting money, and they keep failing. And you're looking at the timeline, and you're like, I don't understand how nobody said anything right here, or here, or here, or here, or here. And now it's me. I'm not kicking that can down the road. We're stopping now. And I've been in these positions where you're the guy that says this is insane, it's immoral, it's never going to work. This has to be totally torn down and reconstructed, or throw it away and start over. And boy, they don't like to hear that. Oh, they don't like to hear that. I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I don't know all the answers. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the best decision maker. And then you bring people in, and they go, yeah, we have to do X, Y, and Z. Okay, let's do it. And yet everyone's still mad. Well, and my question to everybody when I've been in these situations, I've been in it several times, and I'm sure Duffy and Pete Hegseth and Kristi Noem, I'm sure they all say it. So you don't like that I'm making the changes. I've shown you that this is a boondoggle, that we have wasted billions, if not trillions of dollars, like Puffy said, $1 trillion. $1 trillion. Get your brain wrapped around $1 trillion. And I'm making change to become more efficient, more productive, and more successful. And you're fighting me because you want the status quo. You want to stay in a perpetual state of failure. Why? Why do you want to stay in a state of failure? Because everyone else is failing, but you continue to be rewarded for the failure. Monetarily, a new promotion, more power, more prestige, but you're a failure. And you don't want anybody to say anything. Well, this is why I believe I give them so much grace, is because I believe they've gone into these positions like Trump did in 2016, thinking and knowing, okay, we have a problem, but never having the intellectual capacity, and nobody would, to understand the depth of the corruption, the treason, the stupidity, and the systemic failure that's built into these programs and agencies. I don't believe they had any idea. And they're shocked. And when you listen to them talk, you could feel it. I can't. As a former supervisor, I can feel it. And as a senior leader, feel their tension. Like, you listen to Duffy, he's like, they didn't spend it. Where did it go? Why didn't they spend it? I'm just looking, Duffy's saying, I'm just looking at it from the surface level, and I'm like, oh my, we're gonna have to recreate it. How did anybody not say anything? How could you be so corrupt or so stupid or so willfully ignorant to continue to allow our government to go like this? Well, again, because they benefit. Everyone else fails, but they benefit. We always call this, they failed upwards. It's a phenomenon in all businesses. Here's someone else that knows how horrific things are. But I even will argue that he, even though he being in the military and he knowing everything that's going on, still didn't know the depth of the corruption, the systemic failure, everything that's baked into the system. Listen to Pete Hegseth just go down the list of things he's chopping off right at just common sense wise before he digs into it.
No more pronouns, no more climate change obsession, no more emergency vaccine mandates, no more dudes in dresses. We're done with that shit.
Oh, I can hear people now that's such bad language. No, I encourage more of that language. I encourage it. The days of niceties and civility and all that's done. When people say we're at crossroads, no. We're not at crossroads. We drove through the crossroad. We didn't turn right or left. We just kept going straight into hell. I don't want nice people. I want absolute savages, because the other party, the side of murder and babies, the side of gender mutilation, the side of gender ideology, the side of endless wars, the side that wants to promote insane ideologies across America, the party or the side that hates God, that believes in nothing except death and destruction. I don't want anyone to join the fight against those evil bastards except warriors and savages that want to destroy them. Period. Here's a savage. And you want to talk about a man that is probably beyond frustrated? Beyond frustrated. That's Tom Homan. He has 50 million people to get out of America. He's not received the funding or the manpower from Speaker Johnson and the Republican Party. He is arresting and deporting about 1,000 to 1,500 people a day. That means that it will take over 100 years to deport everyone out of America. Not going to happen. Let's listen to Tom Homan.
You know why the Biden administration released millions of people in the United States? No one ever talks about it. I'll talk about it. Why did they release people into the interior of the United States and put them, rather than put them into an ice bed? Why not put them in an empty ice bed at $127 a night rather than in a hotel room at $500 a night? They did it on purpose, because when you put them in an ice detention bed, they get a hearing in 35 days. Court records show 9 out of 10 people claim asylum, get order removal, they're gone. But if you release them and put them in a hotel room at $500 a night, their hearings could be 5, 7, 9 years if you pull out all appeals. And what are they hoping for then? That another Democrat administration is in power. They can warrant amnesty to millions. This is about selling this country off for future political power. That's what it was. The law clearly says if you arrive at our border without proper documentation, you shall be detained. Not maybe, not think about it, shall. And that's what President Trump's doing. Catch and release is over. That's what the law.
Catch and release is illegal. Just to follow up on Tom Homan, every single thing he said in that minute and a half was 100% correct. In the Immigration Nationality Act, you shall detain. Not maybe, not any, definitely not you're going to release. Mayorkas forced ICE and Border Patrol to do unconstitutional orders, and the leaders of the United States Border Patrol went along with it. Why? Well, they want to keep their jobs. That's it. That's it. People that swore an oath to protect and honor the Constitution abdicated their oath. Simple as that. It's really that simple. Tom Homan is frustrated. He is understaffed. He is underfunded. And the reason why is because the Democrats and the Republicans are a uniparty and they want to fundamentally transform America. And I say this every single time when I'm on an interview. If you do not like my conclusion, a conclusion of a man that's been in this business for 24 years, been retired, wrote 2 best-selling books, did 2 documentaries, does daily research on this, has daily contact with the men and women on the border. I know what the hell's going on, and I know what the hell is happening, and you don't like my conclusion, then why don't you tell me what the hell's going on? And why don't you tell me how it's beneficial for America to have 50 million illegal aliens living in our country with no allegiance to our nation? Explain to me how that's beneficial. Go. Silence. Love that silence. Every time I'm interviewed, I heard that silence. And I just sit there and I stare at the host or the person debating me, and we just marinate in the silence. I'm not cutting the silence for you to make it better. I just want to sit and marinate in the silence of your ignorance and your inability to make an articulable fact how it's beneficial, because there is none. It's beneficial in the way that you get to transform America. Here's another. This is a rising star. I don't know that much about him. I'm going to look into him. I think he's from Indiana, but I could be wrong. Congressman Brandon Gill. And he's responding to one of the dumbest, and that's a bold statement, one of the dumbest people in the Democrat Party, and easily in the top 3 most racist people in the House of Congress. And that would be Jasmine Ghetto Crockett, the woman of double negatives and street slang. She just got done talking, and this is Brandon Gill's response to this idiot.
Expired. Nothing excites me more than the thought of President Trump initiating the largest deportation operation in American history. I'd like to remind the committee that the purpose of our immigration system is for the benefit of American citizens, not foreigners or anybody else. For the past 4 years, Democrats have facilitated the invasion of over 10 million illegal aliens into our country. Open borders grow the welfare state, they depress American wages, strain our education and healthcare system, price our working class out of owning a home, and flood our communities with violence and drugs. Mr. Beer, and as well as my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, you're intellectualizing about illegal alien crime notwithstanding. I'd like to remind you that the correct number of American citizens murdered or raped by illegal aliens is 0. Americans have learned firsthand that importing the third world will turn America into the third world. So in light of the chaos of the past 4 years, the question that has come up earlier is, why are our Democrat colleagues so determined to flood our country with millions of illegal aliens? And I'd like to suggest that perhaps it's because they benefit from it politically. Remember that every state is apportioned congressional seats based on population, not based on citizenship. Counting non-citizens in congressional apportionment has resulted in more seats for blue states and fewer congressional seats for red states. For instance, excluding non-citizens, California, would have an estimated 3 fewer congressional seats. In Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia, traditionally red states, would each have an estimated 1 additional seat.
He just laid it all out, didn't he? The Democrats want to take over our government. And if they count every illegal alien in the census in 2030, they're being told, or we are being told, that the flips of appropriation of seats in Congress will flip 60 to the Dems. 60. And then it's over. The party's over. Turn the lights out. Think if out of those 60 you had 10 more Jasmine Crockett's. 2 or 3 Elon Omars. The I'll marry my brother incestuous sickness to get her brother a green card. another 3 or 4 AOCs. Oh, gosh. 3 or 4 more Pelosi's. Right. Or one of these morons that I'm going to show you called Pence, Mike Pence. Can we all get on our knees and thank God Almighty that he's not anywhere near a power structure? What a disappointing, what a piece of trash this man has become. Coward, weird. You want to hear something weird? Let's listen to him talk about the greatness of cheap goods from China. It's part of the American dream. I'm not making that up. Let's listen to him.
He said that cheap goods was not a part of the American dream. Well, I'm somebody who spent almost my entire life in public service. We lived on our paycheck while we raised 3 kids and put 3 kids through college. Cheap goods are a big part of it. I think we ought to be candid about that.
Cheap goods are part of America. Oh, God. It's funny, Mr. Pence, that I get a red flag the moment somebody says to me, well, I've been a public servant all my life, as if that's noble. Look, I was in public service. To broad brush the people that work in government and they're noble, are you out of your mind? I worked with some of and seen some of the dumbest people on planet Earth in public service. People that hated our country in public service. I find it to be a negative that you spent your whole life in public service, to be quite honest with you, sir. What have you accomplished? How are you worth millions of dollars right now? Maybe it's all those cheap goods. You stood in front of Congress and certified an election that everyone knew was stolen. Everyone knew it was stolen. And you turn your back on your president. And now you're on an island. The Dems can't stand you. You're a white man. You're everything they hate. You are the poster boy of the stiff, inflexible, white privileged white man. Good luck with that, buddy. And our side doesn't want you. We want you nowhere near us. Get away from us, Mr. Pence, that I don't like to be alone with women. What? What are you talking about, dude? You're a weird cat, man. You look weird. You sound real. Are you a robot? You look like a robot. Understand, right now in our government, our Senate, in our House, there are more than enough people like him that are representing us with the R next to their name. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to show you in my next segment clips of the spike in illegal alien crime. You better get prepared. I'm telling you. You have Islam taking over our country, mosques going up every single day. You have violence. You have the imams in America openly stating we're going to attack and take over America. You have illegal aliens in major metropolitan cities, majority blue, that are just allowing their police to get run over and destroyed. Washington State, Seattle's on fire again. The police, and I'll discuss this at another day, are so grotesquely impotent. I mean, they're embarrassing. Embarrassing. I would never act like these police. You know, you can say that. Well, you know, I wouldn't act like that. No, I did it for 24 years. I never acted like this. Never. I never told people 7, 8, 9, 10 times to do something and then give them 11th chance and then back up as I'm doing it. And the reason why I'm so passionate about this is because of these gutless police officers and their inadequacies, and they don't know how to do their job. When I used to arrest people that would fight me, I would ask them, why would you think, look at me. Why would you think I would just allow you to hit me or allow you to try to escape? Well, because the last time the guy that arrested me, I did that to him and he just let me go. God almighty, man. I have to use a force because the people prior to me are horrible at their job. They used to infuriate me. You need to be prepared. You need to go to sat123.com. I'll give you an example. Today, my son, I'm looking as I'm driving to school, driving in the parking lot. Great school. I feel safe, but God only knows, right? You just don't know. And my son is unzipping and unzipping, checking his backpack to make sure he has everything. And I'm looking at unzip the backpack. It has a ballistic shield in there. I have a ballistic shield backpack from sat123.com for my son. And let me tell you about the quality of this company in their sat phones, their Faraday bags, their solar generators, and their backpacks. My son, if you have children, you know by the end of the school year, the backpack is, you're just like, please, God, I got 2 weeks left. Please let this hold on. You even got shoestrings. You're tying it. You don't care. I'm not spending $200 on a backpack for 2 weeks. Please let me get through. His backpack, and my son's a thrasher. He's got baseball. He's got all kinds of stuff and he's a good kid, but it's just, they're boys. I was looking at the backpack today, and it looks brand new. That's how high quality the products are. Go to sat123.com/JJ. Be prepared. Illegal alien crime is spiking. Even with this law and order president, there is the residue of lawlessness. I'm going to show you. This is a gang that has ties to TDA. All teenagers, majority teenagers, even young as 12 years old. I want you to watch them. This is in Central Park in New York. They attack the police officers. They attack them. Watch this.
The two officers jump in to try to stop a couple of teen suspects from carrying out an apparent assault. But soon a gang jumps in to try to stop the officers from making the arrests. Video shows the officers being shoved, objects being thrown at them, and then the group flees. Several of the teen suspects in custody, one as young as 12, one flashing gang symbols. The suspects believed to be associated with the notorious TDA gang.
It's okay. Just some unaccompanied alien children. Thank God they're not being sexually assaulted, or maybe they are. Why aren't they in school? Anybody ever asked that? Why aren't they in school? There's millions of these children. And maybe it's best that they're not in your school, selling your kids drugs, raping your children. English is a second language, so your child gets 50%, 30% instruction, where we have to spend all of our time on the uneducated children of peasants and third world people. Maybe it's best they're outside just beating up people and attacking police officers. Maybe. What else do I have to show you today? Well, I actually don't have time to show you everything, because it would take hours and hours and hours and hours if I just played uninterrupted clips of illegal aliens being arrested for murder, for rape, for assault. But I'm going to start with this one. This is an illegal alien that raped a 9-year-old girl and got her pregnant. Again, this is not an anomaly. This is happening every single day in America. Go ahead and play this one, Caleb.
Strong words from Judge Julie Lynch after Gerson Fuentes changed his plea to guilty Wednesday on rape charges, a deal being reached in the case that garnered national attention and sparked outrage.
If that family hadn't begged me to take this joint recommendation, this would never be happening.
Prosecutors detailing a timeline in court. Fuentes now pleading guilty to rape. The victim was 9 years old at the time and later traveled with her mother to Indiana to get an abortion.
On July 6th of 2022, members of the Columbus Police Department went to the child's residence to obtain DNA samples from the minor child, as well as all males who were living in the home at the time, which included the defendant, Mr. Fuentes, who was the live-in boyfriend of the child's mother.
Prosecutors said Fuentes' DNA was a match. Judge Lynch asking Fuentes if he understood. Fuentes communicating through an interpreter, only saying yes.
I'm going to say something, and it's going to, you're not going to like it. And there'll be cries of racism, but what's new? What's new? This is not bad actors, okay? This is a culture thing. This is culturally acceptable in Latin America. It's culturally acceptable to be a savage and rape children, to have them as your girlfriend or your spouse. How many times I arrested dudes, 20, 21, 22, and a 13-year-old girl, and it's like, yes, my wife. And she's like, yep, that's my husband. And I'm like, God, I don't want one of them in my culture, in my society. Not one. And I have the right to say that. I'm a U.S. citizen. I don't want any of those third world people in my country because I don't want to live in a third world. If you love third world so much, why don't you move to that country? You love Haiti so much, move to Haiti. You want to move to Mexico? Have at it. I don't want it in my country. I have a right to say that. I'm a U.S. citizen. I don't want third world savages, third world morons in my country, period. I don't want millions, tens of millions of uneducated, illiterate peasants from the third world. I don't want it. We have our own idiots. I'm going to give you a great example. This is MSNBC, which is they are a racist organization, and they allow racist people on their show. And this is one of his names, Eli Minstrel, I think his name, Maestro. He looks like a clown. He's a buffoon. He physically looks like a buffoon. But just so you understand, this is the other side. And I always want to compare, contrast. This is the other side. I'm against rapes and murders of illegal aliens. The other side doesn't care. Watch this.
Why do I care what their status was when they committed the crime? If you can prove they committed a crime. I say in the book, if I get shot, if I get murdered by an undocumented immigrant, please tell my children I did not care that they were undocumented.
Right.
What do you say to that? There's just, the guy looks like a moron. He looks like a clown. He's Bozo the Clown, the black version of Bozo the Clown. Hardcore racist. Hardcore. I was watching this. It's on the same top. Everything's tied together. Like all the clips I show, the things I talk about every day, they may seem like, how's that connected? They're all connected. We live in an evil world. And I'm going to give you exhibit 1,500. I saw this on the Sean Ryan show, and I was like, whoa, I got to show this. And it was an incredible interview with a very famous, successful male porn star that found his way out of that evil and found God and changed his life and got married, has 4 kids, and now he is, I think he's a pastor. And he talks about this openly, the evil, the degradation, the fantasy, the lie of pornography. And he said something that I didn't even know, right? The more that I watch things, the more I read, the more that I dive into things, the more I realize how ignorant I am. I'm always honest. I don't know everything. And I'm shocked at some things that I learn. And this was one of them. No, I don't know if shocked is, but just the depths of degradation that the left will go through. Listen to what Harris and Walsh did and what they used to try to pull their side closer together to get more votes. Watch this.
Right before November 4th, last big push from the Harris-Walsh campaign, they ran ads on Pornhub in 7 different states. Why? 120 million viewers a day. It was a character that somewhat resembled Trump, walking in. It was so gross. There was this guy masturbating underneath a blanket, looking at his phone, and someone that looks like Trump comes in and takes the phone away and says, if you don't want to lose your right to watch porn, you better vote in the same way that you want to consume that.
Are you shitting me?
No. 7 states ran those ads.
What states?
I would assume very left states.
They really trap you.
Oh, yeah.
Had you known anybody that had made it out?
I know one girl. I don't know one guy.
The left used Pornhub to propagandize that if Donald Trump gets elected, you will not be able to masturbate to pornography. And you or anyone out there is going to have an argument with me about good versus evil? One of our sponsors, who is a great Christian, husband and wife, owner of this company, Pet Club 24/7. We have to be ready for this fight. Good versus evil. And how do you do that? Well, you have to be healthy. If you're not healthy, you can't fight. You can't even think straight, right? You're in survival mode. The best way to do that is your immune system. We learned that from COVID, or the lie of COVID, and what the devastation it did to our bodies. Go to Pet Club 24/7. They have a proprietary mushroom from Japan that they have created to put into your pet food, your pet snacks, human lotions, and capsules to use. Can you play this commercial, Caleb, for me, please?
There's nothing we wouldn't do for our pets. They're like our children. Our friends at Pet Club 24/7 have developed natural products that contain the most potent strain of a mushroom that's been used for thousands of years to help support the immune system. So visit their website today to discover how they're changing the way that pets and their parents are being treated for the better.
Pet Club 24/7, go to truthwithjj247.com. I take this product, my dog Cinnamon gets the product, and we're getting more healthy. Go to Pet Club or truthwithjj247.com. Fast episode, got 45 seconds left. To go back for a second and think that Harris and Walsh's, their voters, a majority of porn watchers, and try to propagandize to get votes that way. How do we never hear about that? How was that never brought up? Because our media is broken. Our media is corrupt. The media was getting millions upon millions upon millions of dollars from the federal government in order to be the Pravda of America. Our media has lied to us for generations. It is time to take America back, one way or the other. Be prepared.
You're watching Worldview 2,
built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television